Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Thank You Games podcast, where we give thanks to our favorite video games, content creators, basically anyone and everything that make the video game community awesome. I'm Rashan, and you're listening, but today I am joined by the host of Patch Notes, Ceasar Torres. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's a busy day.
Oh man, it's a busy week, man. Like there's so
It's busy.
many
Oh, dude,
so
don't
many
tell me
news.
about
We're
it.
just talking about it before the show started. You were telling
Yeah,
me how the state of play
yeah,
was great for you, and I thought it was pretty good too, but there was some
yeah. Some people were like
yeah,
mellow on it.
mellow,
Some people
yeah.
were like disliking it. But yeah, like you said, I host patch notes. We do 15-minute news updates of like the past week, and dude, this week I can't imagine how long this is gonna take.
It's back.
Like it's so much news. I
Oh my
can't.
gosh. And we got
Jesus.
the Pokemon Presents tomorrow too.
Dude, don't even get me started, man.
There's
Oh, it's
so
such a
much. There's so
such a
much.
long week. But like we scheduled this earlier in the month, and I was like, I gotta make time to talk about this. I just gotta,
Yes, and I'm
I gotta,
glad
I
you're
gotta do
here.
this.
I'm glad to talk to you about Celeste, which is your topic, which is a fantastic game. So I'm excited to get into the topic of the show and talk to you about why you love it so much and just have a nice little conversation about Celeste. But before we get there, we always start off the show with the icebreaker questions, of course. And they're pretty straightforward. The first question is, what have you been playing recently? If you've had any time to play anything at all, what video game are you
Uh,
playing right now?
Basically, what I've been playing right now is just basically, basically, um, games where like you could just pick up and put down.
Yeah.
So like Fortnite, I jump into that every now and then. Fall Guys I was playing recently, and that's actually, it's really interesting to jump back into Fall Guys, having not played it for a long time, because you realize everybody there has been doing nothing but playing Fall Guys, and everybody there is just too good at that game. Um, but that's fun, and there's a new season coming out for that soon, so I can't wait to jump into that. I'm planning on restarting my Animal Crossing Island.
I did that
Uh,
recently. I actually did that
it,
recently, yeah.
from what I heard, there's like mixed reviews on that.
Hmm.
Like, it's a good sense of like starting over, but because you're starting over and you already know what's gonna happen, you want it to just get over with.
Yes.
So hopefully that goes well. Um, Recently, actually, funnily, I was playing Celeste on stream. I haven't finished it yet because of uh when I was playing it, when I was about to finish it, it was my friend's birthday, and we had something planned for her birthday, so it's like I wasn't able to finish it that stream.
Okay.
But I'm playing it on stream, and I'm about to finish it again, and then jump into the DLC. But we'll talk about
Nice.
that later.
Definitely.
Uh, but yeah, that's just games that I can pick up and put down.
Nice.
Just like nothing really straightforward to commit to right now because not that I don't have the time, I just don't have the patience at the moment.
Yeah, I'm in a
I
similar mood right now where I can't commit to something right now, saying that I started Persona 5 Strikers, but even that
Oh my god.
I'm not in the mood for it right now, even though I
Oh
love
yeah.
Persona and I love that cast. But I think I'm in a mood where you just like pick up Animal Crossing, just play it for
Yeah.
a bit and call it
One
a
one
day
thing I
right
will
now.
say, I did play the Project Triangle strategy
Oh,
demo
okay, yeah.
on Switch. That was interesting because it's very like, I don't know if you played what was the
Octopath
game?
Traveler?
Octopath.
Yeah.
Octopath. It's very much like that game,
Yeah.
except it's more strategic.
Yes.
And that was a good taste of like what that game could be. I don't know if I could get into it personally
Mm.
because it's a lot, and I loved Octopath Traveler, but I just fell out of it. But
Yeah, same.
if you love that, if you love Octopath Traveler, you're gonna love Project Triangle strategy for sure.
Definitely. I've been meaning to check that out because I was the same. I loved the art style. I loved everything that game was doing, but I just
Mhm.
fell off after a couple of
Yeah.
hours of playing it. But I definitely want to give Triangle Strategy. Oh my gosh. I wonder if that title's going to stick like Octopath Traveler
Hopefully.
did. Yeah.
Oh, I hope they just pick their project titles like the most
That's their
ridiculous
name.
name. However, when you get
Uh,
into the game, when you start playing the demo, you realize the name Project Triangle Strategy is not a good name for this game at
oh,
all.
okay.
But
If they just
it'd be hilarious if they stuck with it. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, moving on to our
Uh,
next icebreaker question. What got you into gaming? What was it, a person? Is it a particular game that got you so passionate about this industry and games in general?
I,
What was it that started it all?
I feel like it was a culmination of things because I grew up with a PlayStation 1, and I had that. I played with my cousins. We played Crash Bandicoot all the time, and we also my mom, my parent, I guess they didn't know what this was or what the meaning behind this like IP was, but we had a Dukes of Hazard game,
Okay.
and I played that like GTA. I just got in the car and I just drove around. I didn't really like do any of the stories. I just got in the I just got in like that car with the Confederate flag on it, and I just fucking just went all over the place. It was.
Oh man.
I'm not. I don't support it,
I
but
know.
that's just
Yeah.
what I grew up on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that there was that. But I think after that, I really wasn't super into gaming. Like I had a GameCube, but I didn't have a memory card.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah. Couldn't say anything.
any game I played, I either had to like leave my GameCube on, or I had to start over.
Mm.
So there was that. Then, but I kind of fell off, and then in high school, like I had a Wii, but I didn't really play much on it.
Yeah.
But in high school, I had this group of friends that they were really into Smash,
Oh,
as I'm
nice.
pretty
Yeah.
sure most people did.
Yeah.
I had a group friend that was really into Smash, and I just started playing Smash because I was like, I want to be a part of this. I want to like have something to talk to them about, this, that, and the other. And so I started playing Smash with them. One of the friends introduced me to Achievement Hunter. I don't know if you know who
Ah,
they are.
yes. Yeah.
They introduced me to Achievement Hunter, and then from Achievement Hunter, I went to Kind of Funny.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how, in Kind of Funny, because of Greg Miller, I blame him for this,
It's all Greg's.
for causing me the most stressful fucking week of my life. I blame him for giving me the love of video games and the video games industry. So it's like, it was a culmination of a bunch of like different scenarios.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely narrow it back to like when I was a little kid, then skipping a few years, high school, Achievement Hunter, then that bastard at Greg Miller. Oh, sorry, I don't know if we can swear.
Oh no, yeah,
Sorry.
you're good. You're good.
Okay.
I should have mentioned that at the beginning, but no, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Greg, for changing my life for better and,
And for worse.
for worse. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Love
Yeah.
that, man.
Yeah, fantastic guy. Obviously, Achievement Hunter, awesome as well. I'm not too familiar with their. Of course, I know who they are, but I wasn't such a.
Yeah.
a
They just do
huge-
gameplay. They just
Exactly. Yeah.
they don't really like do game news. They just do funny gameplay videos,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
which is interesting because when I got introduced to Kind of Funny, I was definitely at an age where like I shouldn't care about an industry.
Mm.
I shouldn't care about unions. Like I was just like I shouldn't care about any of that stuff. And then I was like fascinated by like the news of the video games industry.
Yeah.
And so when I graduated high school, I wanted to do something like that. I never really got around to it, and then because of the pandemic, this year, being 21, I was like, I got time.
Yeah.
I'll just start
Nice.
something. So that's why I'm doing patch notes now with my friend McKenna,
That is.
who
Awesome.
she's also KFBF as well.
Nice.
So she also has Greg Miller to blame.
Yeah. Love to see it, and yeah, the pandemic has been like more of a curse than anything, but also in some ways a blessing that we have like a little bit more time to do things
Yeah.
that we've had to put off for such a long time. I too have been trying to get, obviously, as you can see on the podcast, trying to get
Yeah.
off my butt doing more in the video game industry space because of people like you said, Greg Miller, all those people out there who have been doing it for so long, and I've just been watching on the sidelines wanting to do it. Finally have got the time like you to finally give it a shot, right?
I've got nothing but time, honestly.
Yeah, jeez. Maybe too much time sometimes.
Too much time.
Yeah.
Too much time. Maybe not enough money to keep up with it
Oh, God,
personally,
that's
but
true.
like
Gosh, gaming is so
but there-
expensive.
plenty of time to cover it.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We got to know Cesar a little bit more, and now we're going to move in to the topic of the show, which is Celeste. If you don't know, oh my gosh, you guys got to play this game. Celeste is
Yeah.
a platforming game that came out in 2018. Has some really fantastic pixel graphics, gorgeous art style. The colors, oh my gosh, the colors in that game.
Beautiful, amazing.
Beautiful colors. I'm blanking on the Matt Makes Games was the developer. I'm looking at it here.
Well, okay, so
Yeah, go ahead.
funny note, when they made the game, their name was Matt, but now after the DLC came out, they realized that they are Maddie. The developer of the game is transgender,
Oh, right.
which is a
yes.
very interesting note when we get into like discussion about like the game story.
Yes, definitely. And I'm sure there's going to be things that I may not have even noticed in the game. It's been such a
Mhm.
long time since I played it, and with you replaying it, and obviously being a different person than I am, having more
Yeah.
different opinions, I'm sure you'll be able
Different
to,
perspective.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'll be able to learn from as well. So I'm definitely excited to talk about it. But yeah, anybody out there, Celeste, fantastic game. Do some more research on it. And just so you know, we're going to go into spoilers for sure
Yeah.
in this game. And it is something that I think everybody who hasn't played it should experience for themselves, especially if they're into story games and platformers. Should definitely check it out. But before we get any more deeper, I do want to ask you, how did you first get introduced to Celeste? Like, how did it become on your radar as to something that you wanted to try out and play? Do you remember when you first saw Celeste and you're like, you know what, I'm going to try that out?
So I had known about Celeste before it came out, briefly,
Okay.
but everything I knew about that game, I knew I was gonna love it. So my stupid ass was like, I'm not gonna play it when it comes out. I'm gonna play it when there's a physical release. There was no guarantee that there was ever gonna be a physical release for Celeste. And I was like, there will be one. Just trust me. It was an indie studio. What was I thinking? Why would I think that there would be a physical release? But they did. They made a physical release
Yes,
copy of it.
eventually. Yeah. With
And I
limited run,
played
I
it
think, right?
limited run
Yeah.
games, yes. And I was actually supposed to get the big bundle, but I messed up the order and I just got the thing.
Mm.
It comes with like an instruction booklet. There's like
The little
concept art.
strawberry thingy.
It's like concept art in there. And it comes with this little card, which is really cool. But yeah, I played the game. I've known about it because of Tim Geddes. So
Oh,
it's
yes,
like
I think
before it
that's
came out.
where I learned about it too.
Tim Geddes kind of funny.
Mhm.
And yeah, I basically knew about it from the start, but I was introduced to it like a year and a half later. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's similar for me, where I didn't know it before it released, I don't think, or maybe close to release. But how
Yeah,
I was
it was like
introduced,
close to release for me. It was like a month out,
yeah,
and I was just like, oh yeah, that
yeah,
looks cool.
it's pretty cool. Yeah, and I think same way I was introduced by word of mouth from Tim Geddes, like him talking about it on Gamecast or somewhere. I don't know. It's been 3 years, so I don't exactly remember. But I think,
Jesus.
yeah, crazy, right? My God. But yeah. So you got introduced to it. Obviously, you picked it up. That's why we're here talking about it
Yeah.
today. I want to obviously talk about the themes of the story as well,
Mhm.
but what did you think about the gameplay itself? Did you find it difficult? Of course, it's meant to be difficult, but what did you think about the moment to moment gameplay? Was it something that you enjoyed? Was it something that you're
I thought
familiar with?
so. You said people should play it.
Mm,
I definitely agree. Everybody should play it at least once. But if you can't get into it, you should definitely watch somebody play it
yeah.
because it is a hard game, and I'll give it that. It is a fucking hard game, but I feel like it's worth it
Mm,
because of the narrative it tells. Because the narrative behind the game is like, uh, it's not easy, but at the end it'll all be worth it when you reach your goal. And it definitely escalates, but it escalates in a way that's fair. Because you have games that I can't really think of any examples right now, but they give you like a tutorial level and they just throw you into like the hardest variation of this level.
yeah.
I feel like Celeste does a good job of like giving you an idea of what the level is about and then growing on it exponentially.
Mm,
There's a level like that's a hotel, and it's like the first thing you see is like the obstacle, and it looks overwhelming. But once you like start getting into the rhythm of like, oh yeah, the point is to die over and over again just so I can
mm,
understand what's going on.
yeah.
That hotel becomes super easy to understand. It's not easy to accomplish.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of tries. It takes a lot of trial and error. Uh, but yeah, don't go into this game expecting for it to be like Mario.
Right. Yeah.
It's a platformer, but it's not Mario. You know what I mean? Because
So,
Mario is an easier game. It's a kid's game. It's designed for like you not to need that many lives because it has a life system. Mario games traditionally have a life system. Celeste doesn't have a life system. It has a death counter, and and that's a pretty telling what that game is. And there's a screen card at the beginning of the game. I forget what it says exactly, but it's like dying a lot means you're learning,
mm, yeah.
or failing a lot means you're learning. And I think that's a very important message that people just gloss over.
Yeah.
I don't, what
Definitely.
did you think about the gameplay?
I like you. I thought it was super tough, but just like you're saying, that was the point of it. And as you mentioned a little bit, when you enter a room, it could be super overwhelming. Like you're thinking to yourself, how the heck
Yeah.
am I supposed to get over there, let alone grab this strawberry before I get over there, and
Yeah.
like the little collectibles in the game. And you're looking at this room, and obviously you try it and you try and you keep going, and then like you said, you start to understand the flow of how Madeline moves, her movements and her abilities as well, being able to phase through certain objects and stuff like that. But yeah, it was so cool to be able to, as the game progressed, looking at a crazy room and say, you know what, I got this. You know, I can do this if I just keep trying and keep trying, and that feeds into what the game story is about. Like, no
Yeah.
matter Madeline coming to the mountain, is like a test for herself to just prove that she can do it. Like, I can do this. I'm in a low point in my life.
Just
I
that she can take the first step is already a big
exactly.
accomplishment for her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, go for it.
and there are moments where like you walk into a room and like you'll jump off a wall
Mm.
at a certain point, like at a certain timing, you'll die immediately, like because you hit something, and then your mind will just be like, okay, don't jump that soon, and then like you do it again, you jump too late, and you're like, okay, don't jump too late. So you're calculating the entire time. You're like thinking to yourself, okay, because you're doing the same thing over and over again. So you're just like downloading what the level is.
Mm.
But yes, like you said, it's part of the story. The struggle. It's like I think let me. There's like a little narrative before in the beginning of the instruction booklet.
Okay, yeah.
So since we're talking about the story,
Yeah. I
it
I
says here like, oh
I,
what?
I just wanted to, before we get into the story, I just wanted to mention to people out there, the feeling of getting through a level that you're having so much
Oh my
trouble
god,
with is such a
it's so relieving.
so
It's so
relieving is a good word, because you're like, finally I got past that, and it's satisfying, but relieving is a really good way to put it as well. And
uh
there's so many gameplay clips that I have on my Switch, because at the time I was just proud of myself for getting through a level. I would like capture
yeah.
it. I have so many
Actually,
Celeste clips on my Switch.
so on my friend's birthday stream, I was playing Celeste before she jumped on, and I was at the very end. I was at the very like they have like check marks. They have to reach the checkpoints. I was going for like an hour on this one specific point, and then when I reached it, I was like, I was going backwards, wasn't I?
Oh gosh.
Because I just loaded up from the specific checkpoint,
Mm.
and I was just moving to the right,
Right.
and I was like,
Wait a second.
this is not the direction I'm supposed to be going in. And like my friends were like, what do you mean? This is clearly you're making progress. And I'm like, no, this number is going in a direction where like we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
This is wrong. And I died, and sure enough, I was going in the wrong direction. Uh, which it's good to know that you can do it backwards.
Yeah.
Uh, but oh yeah, this gameplay is just so
It's really good. It's really
it gives you that feeling of like I did it.
good. Mm-hmm.
I've accomplished this.
Definitely. But you were going to say something about the narrative. You're pulling up something from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
instruction
Wait.
booklet there.
Yeah. Give me a second. Somebody's calling me.
Oh no, no problem.
Yeah, my family.
Oh no.
Okay, so in the instruction book, like there's a narrative before Madeline gets there, or like as she arrives to the
Okay.
mountain.
Okay, gotcha.
So Madeline pulls into the remote parking lot after dark. Hearing the crunch of tires on gravel as she slows to a tentative stop, she shifts into park and squints through the windshield into the darkness ahead. Is this the trailhead? This is where her GPS had led her, but it was old. But it was an older model and had certainly led her astray before. One of the reflective green road signs laid broken and illegible ahead. This probably isn't even the right trail, she muttered aloud to herself and sighed. This was a stupid idea. Internal dialogue. No, this had to be it. Enough doubting. And then external. She breathed deep and tightened her hands on the steering wheel. Internal dialogue. This is it, Madeline. You can do this. But even as she thought the words, she knew that they wouldn't quiet the voice from the back of her head, insisting that she give up and go home. The never-ending cycle. She was so frustrated with herself. Internal dialogue. Why are you so nervous? And then she knew she couldn't answer that question anymore. She knew she couldn't answer that question any more than she could talk herself out of doubting her every move. It was time to try something different. Action. Before she could change her mind again, she quickly unsnapped her seatbelt, removed her key from the ignition, and stepped out of the car, grabbing her backpack from the passenger seat. Standing there, she exhaled heavily and began walking. Whatever happens next, at least she didn't give up without a fight.
Hmm.
So even before she gets off the car, she's dealing with her internal struggles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I say like for her taking the first step was a big accomplishment, this dialogue most people play the game will never read.
I didn't. Yeah.
Proves that like her taking the first step is a big step.
Yeah.
Is a big leap for herself.
Yeah. Often it is the first step is usually the big step, right?
The hardest.
Like in whatever you're trying to accomplish, it's just getting off your butt and actually.
First step is always the hardest,
Always the
and nobody
hardest, yeah.
talks about that much.
Yeah, totally.
Um,
Everybody talks about like the end goal, and some people don't even talk about the journey that it
Took to get there, yeah.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
the first step is usually the hardest. The middle part is probably obviously the second hardest.
The
but
longest.
the
Yeah, the longest.
Yeah.
And like while you're trying to reach the goal, it's definitely the shortest, but it's like you have a moment to reflect of like how you got there.
Mhm.
And so it's like there's each moment has like meaning. But there's an old saying, I forget what it is. It's like it's not about the goal or it's not about the destination, but the journey
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah, it's not.
And
Yeah, that's exactly it.
that's exactly like yeah, you're trying to reach the summit of the mountain,
Mhm.
but it's also like how Madeline is overcoming it
Exactly. Yeah,
as well.
it's everything that she learned in between there. Like if she got to the mountain and she didn't talk with, I think the nickname of her inner self is Madeline is what a lot of people call
Yeah.
her, but I don't know if that's the official name. But her being able to come to terms with that voice in the back of her head, who literally takes form in the game, which is really awesome. Being able to
So
have
this
that
has
actual conversation. Yeah, go for
this has names for characters.
it. Okay, great.
Madeline is Madeline. The old lady is Granny.
Right.
Theo, we know who Theo is. He's the hipster dude from Seattle,
Yeah,
I think. Mr. Oshiro, the guy,
the
the
ghost
dead
guy.
hotel manager.
Yeah.
And Madeline is Madeline's reflection.
Okay.
And her description is Madeline's reflection is given form by the magic of the mountain. She haunts Madeline on her journey, preying on her doubts and insecurities.
Hmm.
So there's that.
Yeah.
That's the official name.
Okay, good. I'm glad I wasn't
It's
butchering
not
it.
as cool as Madeline.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, as I was saying, like when she gets to the summit, she's able to talk to Madeline, and like she says that I can't go back to the way it was. Like I need us to be able to talk to each other when we go back. Like this journey can't be for nothing. What we learned here, we have to keep with us so when we go back down we don't get back to where we were at the beginning, like you were saying, how tough it was for them to take that first step. She doesn't want to go back there, and as you said, the journey is what caused that to take form. And like the characters in the game, who would you say? I guess Madeline for most people would be the one that you'd relate to the most, but even like Theo to an extent I related to. But for you,
Yeah.
who are some of your favorite characters, and what did you take away from them?
Well, see, like we just said, there's not that many characters to like
Yeah.
really pull from. But
A lot
I
of them
really
are not
think
so
it's.
great. Like
I think Granny's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think Granny's like a really interesting character to throw in there as kind of like a motivator,
Mhm.
but she's not really because she's like she's throwing doubt Madeline's way, but Madeline's like, I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an interesting like comedic level of doubt. It's like a comedic relief, basically, is what this is what
She's like,
Granny
"You can't
is.
do it," but like, I'll do it. I'll show you. Yeah, definitely.
Theo's interesting because he's like, he's like the content creator. He's like taking selfies on the
Yeah.
mountain, and he's like, it's life, baby. It's like, this is what it is. It's really interesting that, interesting character that we don't see is Theo's sister. I forgot her name, but he talks about her during like their campfire talk, where he's like, Madeline, you remind me a lot of my sister. You both are very determined people, but you get in your heads a lot. And so, yeah, there's that. What I love about Theo also is that he's talking about like he's taking pictures for like his Pixtagram account. There's an actual Instagram
Yes,
account
I
called
saw that.
Theo _stars,
Yeah.
and it has all the pictures and more pictures after the fact. And there's like a picture of him and Madeline on a Skype call, on a Zoom call or whatever. It's really
Yeah,
cute.
it's
It's
really cute. That I remember looking at that. I don't know if I've seen all of them, but I remember when I was finishing up the game, I saw like, oh, he has an actual Twitter account, and
I knew about that before. Like I actually played. I saw it before. Like I actually played the game, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait to play this game.
oh
Uh,
yeah, and I guess there's Theo's sister here too. I'm looking at the
but yeah,
account now. Yeah, or is
yeah,
this?
she's there.
Yeah, there she is. Yeah.
It's Theo's sister, and I think his grandfather is in the account somewhere.
Yes, you're right.
Um,
Yeah.
but at a certain point, they stopped making art for it, and they
Yeah.
just like, it was fine though. But I would definitely say hands down, Madeline is. Come on,
Yeah.
your whole journey's with Madeline,
Yeah.
and it's like, she's a very relatable character, especially because she has a second character with her that is also very relatable, being her reflection, Madeline, which you could argue that they're both different characters. They're both technically the same character, but I just think that's what makes it more relatable is that she's not just a protagonist that like, I'm just doing this objective because I can.
Yeah.
No, she's like, I'm trying to prove myself.
To myself.
I'm trying to
yeah.
prove to myself,
Yeah.
not to anybody. Nobody cares. People don't want me to do this,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to prove myself to myself, and that's all that matters to me. And I think, as somebody that struggles with mental health, literally medication for it, uh, and hearing Madeline's conversation with Theo or reading it,
Yeah.
about like anxiety and depression and the feather moment.
Oh my god.
Those
Yeah. Jeez.
those moments made me cry. Like those moments made me, because it was like, I don't know when was the last time I cried playing a video game, but this game had those moments for me because it was the most beautiful, relatable, understandable, and real moments I had ever seen in a video game.
Yeah.
And this is a 2D pixel platformer. Like, you say realistic, you say like real. People are like, oh, Call of Duty. It's like, no, for me the most realistic, for me the most real game I've ever played has to be Celeste.
Yeah.
Like hands down. I don't know how you feel about like
No.
real characters.
The most relatable characters. I feel the same way with Madeline. The having to wanting to prove yourself to yourself is definitely a struggle, and there's outside people as well that you like, family,
Yeah.
mothers and stuff like that you already feel the pressure of them, but when it's yourself and you feel like you can't do something, it's obviously such a heavy burden on
Yeah.
you. And like you were saying, the breathe moment with the feather, the just breathe, I got chills because I honestly forgot
Yeah.
about that. It's been so long since I played it, but just you telling me
Yeah.
the feather moment brought it back straight away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was talking to my friends about this. I don't know what tattoo I should get.
Yeah.
Because I'm planning on getting my first tattoo. I don't know what I should get. A strawberry with wings or a feather.
Feather. Yeah.
Because I feel like strawberry with wings is more representative of the game, but feather to me carries more weight.
Definitely.
Especially the second feather moment, where she's trying to like calm herself down, and then Madeline is like, "No, I'm not gonna let you. Your anxiety. I'm your anxiety, and I'm not gonna let you get through this. I'm just gonna make it harder for you." And she just throws her to the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree that the strawberry would definitely be more, I guess, recognizable. That like, oh, that's Celeste, but definitely the feather would be more impactful, I guess, or
More meaningful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely. I want a tattoo so bad.
Which,
but
who's leaving these strawberries all over this fucking
Who is
mountain?
doing
Like,
that?
who had the audacity?
I put them in all these terrible places. Like, what are you doing, man?
I acknowledge that this mountain used to be a city or whatever, but why are there so many fresh strawberries? Are they magical? What?
They've
Sorry.
got to be magic. No, it's a valid criticism.
There's nothing in here. There's nothing in here about the strawberries. Like I'm looking.
My goodness! But before we started talking about the characters, and well, we will continue talking about the characters.
Yeah.
But you did mention that Madeline is trans during when we were talking about Matt's plays games and stuff like that. So that's something I want to hear more about. That's something that I heard about after I played the game. So it's not something that I experienced while playing it. So I definitely would love to hear more about.
I didn't play it either, but I definitely looked into it. So basically, at the end of the game, there's DLC with 99 more levels of Celeste that they added recently. It's free DLC, so I'm definitely planning to play that on stream. Uh, but at the end of the DLC, there's a moment where she's laying down on her bed. You can see on her coffee table there's a picture of a younger version of herself, but it's a male presenting
Mm.
kid. But the same hair, same facial features as Madeline. So like you assume like initially people assume like, oh, is this like a brother or something or what is it? And then like she moves to her computer and you see the trans flag in the background.
Mm.
And so people were like, oh, she's transgender. And it's like, to me, the fact that we got that kind of representation in this game and it wasn't the biggest deal of this game.
Yeah.
Like this was not a selling point. This was just like a afterthought by the developer. I think Maddie Thompson said after the fact, she was like, yeah, she's trans.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a J.K. Rowling thing. It kind of
Yeah.
was, but it was like
I know what you mean. Yeah.
not transphobic or anything, but like changing like
Just to get
the
like.
lore of the lore of the characters
Yeah.
after the fact. But I feel like that was different because that was like I want to give attention to Dumbledore for some really specific reason. I feel like this because there wasn't a big deal made about it and it just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like it was a very genuine moment for this character. And it kind of makes a lot of sense that Madeline is already dealing with this kind of anxiety because I'm not trans, but as somebody that's like in the LGBT spectrum, I would never understand the trans experience. But having gone through my own things of like identity crisis of like, is this really my identity? Like, is this am I really bisexual? Can I really just like? You have internal doubt, you have dysphoria, you deal with so much, and then like, I can imagine even after going through her transition, she's still dealing with that. But none of that was ever really mentioned during the game. And I don't. To me, that it kind of makes it more special
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't feel like it was shoehorned in. It just
Yeah.
feels like this is her bedroom,
Right.
and this just happens to be what's in her bedroom.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely. Yeah.
I don't know.
There, I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at the images from the DLC with the picture and the flags by
Mhm.
the computer, and yeah, proof as much as I need. And plus, you already said that the actual person who made the game says that she is. So yeah, that's really cool, and I love that type of representation. As you said, doesn't feel shoehorned in. It seems
Yeah,
genuine. Like this is who
yeah.
this character is, and
Like also like you could say like Theo's also representation too as a person of color, black man,
yeah,
in this game. Never made a fucking comment about him being black.
yeah.
Like
He just
there
says,
never was like they never played a stereotype for that man. They never did anything. They were like, yeah, I'm a photographer in Seattle. What about it?
Yeah.
It's just, and I love that. I love that they're just like these are people that live in this world. Who cares?
I
And
Not that he isn't. I don't know.
I don't know. It was never specified.
Yeah, I always saw Theo as like I guess brown.
Hispanic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brown. Yeah, but either way, representation, no matter how you look at it.
Representation
Yeah,
is great.
exactly. But
I don't.
yeah,
But yeah,
go ahead, go for it.
no, I just think I there's no like argument towards Theo's race either,
Yeah.
which is what I think is great about like the audience of this game
Mm.
is like most of the people were like, that's cool.
Yeah,
Like
it is what it is, right?
that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But there were some people I saw online that were like, oh, this agenda is in this game. They're forcing this icon down our throat,
Oh, boy.
like the trans flag. And I was like,
Yeah,
it's literally like in the fucking corner. Like that's about the same size as my light switch right now.
yeah.
The flag, like it's not even that big of a deal. Like you don't even pay attention to it. It's just like
It's just
if you're really
there.
looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens so
Uh,
often. Like in Spider-Man is the most recent example that I can think of. In Miles Morales, most recently, I guess, with the Black Lives Matter thing. But even before that, in 2018, when they had the flags on a street corner, and people were mad about that. Like it's just there for the people who
Black.
who want it,
He's
who
like, come
need to
on.
see that stuff, and who would like to see that
I
stuff in their games. And if you don't want to see that stuff in your games, then the people making the games aren't the problem.
I think it's very important for especially the time that Miles Morales came out
Mm,
with all the stuff that's going on that they threw that in there.
yeah,
Uh because I feel like they wanted to make New York feel
like now.
as
Yeah,
real
yeah,
as possible. And the world being the way it is, they couldn't do a pandemic twice. Uh so they're like, we got to throw in this Black Lives Matter movement
yeah,
because obviously it's very important. It would be very important to Miles. It'd be very important to people that believe the way we believe.
yeah.
But also, it would make New York feel more real. And I feel like that's why they threw it in there. The one that I saw a lot for Spider-Man Miles Morales was the deaf girl.
Oh right, yes, yeah.
That's
People
the
didn't
one I
like
saw
that.
people. I saw a lot of people loving it for accessibility
Yeah.
representation, but also there were some people like, why can't she just speak?
Oh my.
And I
Whoa.
was like, deaf people exist. What are you gonna do
Oh
about
my
it? You know,
gosh, dude.
like
Oh
deaf people
Lord.
exist. You know, like
Right? Yeah. It's
deaf
so
people
crazy.
exist, black people exist, trans people exist. You know, let these people make
Exists.
games
Yeah.
to like represent themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know.
That
This is
is.
turning into a different conversation,
It is.
but
It
like,
is. But it does kind of feed into what the character like Madeline and
yeah,
stuff like this happens. It is real. Like people do go through this
yeah,
stuff, and even if we're not talking about race
identity
or
crisis.
gender politics or whatever you want to call it, we're mental illness is a thing, and there a lot of people do
It's
think
very
that
real.
it's not a thing, and that people are making it up just to get away with whatever, even though their lives aren't where they would want to be, like
I
having to
honestly
go through
feel
these
like
things.
there have been a lot of movies and TV shows made about like anxiety and depression.
Mm,
I feel like Celeste is the best form of media for mental illness
yeah.
and like as a representation for mental health. And that's awesome that an indie game was able to do that, but that's also kind of sad
Yeah.
because a lot of
A lot of people are not gonna
people a lot of
experience
people love
that.
to poke fun at like people with mental illness. They're like, oh, that guy's always crying. What's wrong with him? That guy has anxiety. He's always shaking. He's always nervous. What's wrong with him? But like this game actually lets you sit down and realize like this is a real thing people deal with,
Yeah.
and like it's okay to feel these feelings. You just um I think there's an accessibility mode,
Yes.
and it says
Makes
something
sense.
like just know you can use this mode, but the point of this game is to like help you understand like this isn't easy.
Mhm.
Uh yada yada. Something like I forget what it says,
Yeah. I, I,
but
I
it's like
I don't remember exactly what it says, but I think it's along the gist of what you said. Is like, it's meant to be hard. It's
it's meant to be hard
yeah,
because like that's how life is.
yeah. Like you're
But
gonna
from what I've
fail
heard,
and
the
stuff.
accessibility mode is great.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna fail over and over again, but that's the point.
yeah.
But from what I heard, the accessibility mode does help a lot,
Hmm.
which is great to hear. But but yeah, I just think it's kind of sad that it took this long for not just mental health, but like everything, to have decent representation in video games,
Hmm.
especially 2018 being, even though it's 3 years ago, that's still very like a lot of games that people love have come out since then
Yeah,
or before then.
yeah,
Before then, so it's like it's weird to like for one a trans protagonist and two a protagonist with mental health issues to make an impact the way it did
hmm,
is amazing to me.
yeah. Definitely, and it got like Game of the Year nominations and yeah, like
To me, it
awards.
should have won.
It should have
I don't know,
won. Yes, I don't remember
but
what was it. Breath of the Wild, I guess that year though.
no, Breath of the Wild was 2017.
Okay.
2018 was a stacked year though. I
Oh
will give
yeah,
it that
God of
because
War and Spider
God of
Man.
War
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Spider Man.
Okay, but still,
Those.
Celeste was really good.
Here's the thing: I don't think any indie game has made it to that point where
Yeah.
they was nominated for Game of the Year on so many platforms, especially the Game Awards.
Mm,
So to make that accomplishment alone says something,
yeah, definitely hit
and
a chord
people,
with a lot of people.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like a lot of people that thought they were normal, that thought that they didn't have any mental health issues. I feel like a lot of people saw this game, played this game, and took a moment to reflect, which a lot of people on something that a lot of people just ignore.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to have that conversation of like, am I okay?
Hmm.
And I don't know. Sometimes I just ramble.
No, that's
Sometimes I
okay.
just like,
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I knew I didn't like I exactly like I didn't think that I had huge problems. I don't think I do, but sometimes like I could relate to Madeline. Like everybody goes through these types of spouts
yeah.
in their life, like
You
where you
you took a second to think about it is the
yeah,
thing. And it's like I
exactly.
think that's what they wanted.
Exactly.
Is for like to have that conversation of like, especially
With your
during that
battling.
conversation with Theo, where like you're talking about like she's I forget exactly what she says, but she says like she always makes these plans, but she never does any of them
Mm.
because she
Yeah.
always gets in her head.
Yeah.
She always like talks herself out of it because she makes these plans that she doesn't do them. And I can almost guarantee everybody that listens to this or everybody we talk to has gone through this at least once.
Definitely. Yeah.
And like, yeah,
That's why it took me
and
so long to start doing the podcast because I get
I
in
know
my
that
head
feeling.
and then like, oh, who's gonna want to come on this show? Who's gonna want to talk to me? I'm not gonna do anything with it.
Yeah,
And then, as we said it at the beginning, the first step is the hardest step, and then it's the journey, which is the stage I'm sure both of us are in. Like, just keeping going until we get to that, our whatever our respective goals are. But it's that in between part where you are talking to your respective battle line, where you're like talking to that voice in the back of your head, and trying to work with them, not shut them out because they are an important part of you, but learning to work with that nagging voice in the back of your head and seeing how you guys can come through on the other side together and just, be stronger in the end. Become
yeah.
a unified force like Madeline and Madeline did in the end. It was beautiful, gorgeous. But I think we touched upon it a little bit as to what your favorite part of the game is. Is your favorite part of the game probably the feather moment? I would
There,
assume.
it's really hard to say I love
Yeah,
the game. I love the gameplay, but
but
it's very hard for me to say I love the gameplay when there's so many like standout moments,
mm,
like the feather moment. Uh, I would definitely say the like feather moment and the campfire with Theo are
right,
like contenders
definitely. Yeah,
because they, but also there's a moment which is like at the end of the game, uh, where Madeline is trying to go back up the mountain and she's talking to Madeline and Madeline's like still trying to like see like they're working together, but Madeline is still trying to back out of it. And Madeline's no, we can do this. We can do this. We can totally make it to the summit. And at a certain point, Madeline's like, yeah, we can do this. And I
yeah.
think that's really cool. I think that's a really cute moment where it's like she still kind of has like self doubt, but she's also like
She wants to
kind
work.
of convinced herself.
Yeah,
She's kind of convinced herself like we can accomplish this whether we like it or not.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
so what about you? What would you say was your like favorite moment?
I some of my favorite moments are kind of the hard hitting ones where like Madeline kind of gives Madeline the truth of like how she is
Yeah, that
feeling.
was good.
Like
Yeah, that
she's
was a good moment.
yeah, there's a moment with Oshiro kind of early on where Madeline's like, we don't like you, go away. Like we
No, that was at the end of the hotel sequence
yes,
because it was
yeah,
right before his final boss form.
exactly, yes, yeah, and she was just like saying how Madeline probably really feels about the situation. Like I just want to do
That
this
was
because
so bad.
it feels good. I want to help you because you suck, and I want to feel good about myself. And then he obviously loses it, and yeah, it's those moments where like Madeline gives Madeline the hard truths that she needs to hear for them to finally come together and work together. That
Yeah.
I really liked. But of course, the feather moment, just breathe. All those are. It's filled with fantastic moments, and obviously the gameplay, the moment gameplay is obviously fun in itself. But it's those
So
moments that make it worth it.
so that you're talking about like Madeline giving the hard truth and the
Yeah.
feather moment. Did you like the second feather moment where
Uh
like Madeline is like she's got like all these tentacles. She's like I'm gonna destroy you,
oh
and like
yes,
Madeline's like just breathe, just breathe, just breathe, and like the box is getting smaller.
smaller. Yes. Oh
It's
my
getting
god.
smaller, and then like Madeline's like I'm not gonna let you do this, and she just knocks the feather out.
No, yeah,
I don't.
I that is a standout moment too. I it's been so long that I'm forgetting a lot of them, but I'm looking at it now and
I
then.
get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is definitely a standout moment. It's hard for me to speak on it too
that
clearly,
extent.
I
Yeah,
guess, but yeah, definitely both feather moments for sure. But the first one is
because
is more fresh in my mind for some reason, even though it was before the
I
the
think
second
it's
one.
just very it's just very like memorable
Yeah.
because it's just like it's like he said, like it's just an easy way to like calm yourself.
And
I feel like a lot of people use it. I don't know. I've used it very few times, but I imagine a lot of people use it.
use it now, yeah. That it was definitely it was calming in the time that I was playing it. There was also a moment where she finally breaks the peak, I think, and she's like flying up with her powers, and she's like soaring into the sky. I don't remember what moment this was. I think it was near. It must have been near the
It
end of
has
the
to be the
game.
end. It has to have
Yeah,
been like the end of the game
but it was
because
such a
that's
beautiful moment too.
mhm. Yeah. I think uh, just even talking about this game, I just love it even more
Yeah.
because it's just so many moments. I don't know if I told you, I have like a top 5 list of games that like any day of the week they could take number one. Celeste was on that list immediately.
Yeah.
Celeste was easily like hands down like I could just play nothing but this game and be happy or feel. That's the other thing too. I don't know if like I felt happy about this game, but I think the strongest thing I felt from Celeste was understood,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
I can't really say much about a lot of things except for my favorite artist, musician. Um, I can't really say I feel understood by like, I love Breath of the Wild, but there's no story in Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Like, I love Portal, but the story in Portal is very much like it's existing in this world and there's nothing really much going on. Uh, Celeste gives you a look into your internal self.
Yeah.
And to me, that it explored things in a way I'd never seen before, and it just made me feel understood. I don't know if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. Yeah, there's the best movies, TV shows are ones that I guess we can relate to as people that either like The Last of Us is the first one. I love the second one, but I know a lot of people are going to be mad for me talking positively about the second one. But yeah,
Actually,
just
I know like an even amount of people that feel both ways.
yeah, it's
Uh,
definitely a controversial one, I guess, to
yeah,
say the least. But games like The Last of Us, games like Celeste, it just kind of help you, not help you, but you can relate to the characters on a human level. Like I can see myself in these situations. Maybe not The Last of Us, but the characters themselves, like how they interact and how they feel in certain situations. Like it makes you cry, it makes you happy, like everything that they're going through, you can kind of put yourself in that position. I think those are the best experiences, stories where you can see the realness in all of it.
I see the
And
humanity, or
exactly.
see like yeah.
Yeah.
Even though like most video game characters are humanoid,
Yeah.
you rarely see the humanity in Mario.
Yeah.
He just jumps on turtles and he
Yeah.
goes wahoo, and everybody's like, "Yeah, give me another one."
Good job.
I love Mario, but like, come on,
Yeah, can't relate to Mario. Whew.
you just go wahoo. But you can definitely relate to characters like I've always said. There's never a good person in the Last of Us franchise.
Mm.
There's just people trying to survive.
Mhm.
But you can definitely relate to like Joel and Ellie.
Yeah.
I haven't played God of War, but I can imagine like from what I've seen, you can
Yeah,
definitely relate to Kratos.
a lot of dads out there are like, oh
A
my
lot of
gosh, this is
boy.
awesome, boy. Yeah.
Uh, uh, Another character people say they relate to is oh fuck, I've never played Metroid, but I can imagine like
Oh,
people
Samus.
relating to Samus,
Yeah.
because from what I've seen of some clips, she's like definitely struggling through certain things.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't know. I could be totally wrong on that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either, honestly, because I haven't played them either.
But people relate to games like Final Fantasy too. I don't. I know
Like,
my
there's a lot
cousin
of
loved
them.
Crisis Core
Yeah.
more than the actual Final Fantasy VII game.
Hmm.
But like, Sora, Kingdom Hearts,
Yes.
whatever. But like, yeah, it's very special when you can see the humanity in the character
Mhm.
because that doesn't really happen often.
Yeah,
Especially in video games.
definitely. Well, you are mentioning, or at the earlier parts, that you are playing Celeste again on your
Mhm.
stream. So I just wanted to ask how that's going, and have you done the B sides of any of these levels before? Have you done anything crazy like collecting all the strawberries? Is it something that you even
I
want to
haven't.
attempt?
I haven't yet.
No.
So what my plan is, because right now I can't really log into my Twitch account because my phone's broken.
Right.
It's annoying because that's my content. My plan right now is to finish the game, jump into DLC. After that's done, I'm gonna try to go back and do B-sides, and then maybe strawberries. The thing with strawberries is that they're tough.
They're tough. Yeah.
They're tough. There are some that I was finally able to do because there's like some don't jump strawberries or don't dash.
Oh,
There's some don't dash strawberry. The wings,
gotcha.
the strawberries, because if you dash, they fly away.
Oh, yeah, they get scared.
So it's like, yeah, they get scared, they fly away. They go ah. But something I'm definitely looking at doing.
I tried B-sides once, and I was like, no, I can't do this. But
The,
that's the point, I guess, right?
but there's something very interesting very early on in the game. I remember because I just saw this. It was like, don't worry about getting strawberries. They're only meant to impress your friends.
Okay, yeah.
Which is like a very interesting thing for me because in this, funnily, there's like art for if you get, depending on like how many strawberries you get. Let me see if I can show you here. So basically, like if you have like no strawberries, like everybody like kind of doesn't care.
Yeah.
If you get a few, like people will care a little bit more, but not really. It's really when you get like every strawberry that everybody in the picture is like happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I think that's very interesting because it's like, don't worry about them. They're only there to impress your friends. Is a way, definitely a way to look at them.
Yeah.
Because like it's just a number. It doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't mean you're gonna reach the top of the mountain faster. I don't know.
I saw before recording with you. I saw that on YouTube. I was watching a couple of videos about it, and I thought that was really cool. That depending on how many strawberries you got is how well the cherry pie or the strawberry pie, sorry,
The strawberry pie, yeah.
was baked. I thought that was cool. But yeah, just to impress your friends. It has nothing to really do with Madeline's journey at all. It's just something that to do for fun, I guess, right? But
challenge. It's definitely a challenge for sure. I would definitely try it.
Yeah. I after talking to you about it, I definitely want to go back and experience it again. Having so many, like the feather moment coming back to me is like, oh my gosh, how did I forget about that moment? You know, so I definitely want to go back and check it out because there's
when I was playing it again, I totally forgot about it until I reached a certain point and I was like, oh wait, this moment's coming up.
Yeah.
It's coming up. Where I totally forgot where it was. I totally forgot like where that moment hit, and it was done really well. Because it's basically like I don't know what they're called, but it's basically like a trolley going up a mountain. I don't know what it's called. It stops, it shuts down, and Theo's like, just breathe, Madeline. He tells her the feather method.
Right.
And then they
ski
get
lift, I think, right?
the ski lift. Yeah, the ski lift. And it stops moving. And then they do the feather thing. The feather moment happens. The ski lift starts moving again. And Madeline was like, how did you know we were going to get out of there? And Theo was like, oh, I didn't. I thought we were going to die. Like, that's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's full of those fantastic moments, Celeste. And I hope anybody listening out there is inspired to go back to it as well, or at least took a trip down memory lane with us. And if you haven't played it and you decided to listen to it, what the heck, but I'm glad you did, and I hope you do give it a shot because it is a fantastic
McKenna, go play it.
Yes, go play it.
I don't, there's no guarantee that McKenna's listening to this, but I'm pretty sure there's a good chance she is because she likes to support friends. But she told me she hasn't played it yet. My producer on Patch Notes, and play it. You might like it.
You might like it. It's definitely. And like you said during the beginning, like if you don't want to play it, if it's not for you, definitely look it up. Like watch somebody else play it and experience that story. But
yeah, that game is an experience.
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple of games that I would suggest not watching and playing, but this even actually being one of them. But if you really don't want to, you have to watch it at least. It's fantastic. But
definitely, like for sure, this is a game to be played.
Yeah.
But if you can't play it, watching it is just as fine.
Definitely. Well, before we wrap things up, I just want to ask, is there anything else you would like to add about Celeste before we go into the outro and plugging?
So I haven't played it yet, but they had said they weren't going to do a sequel to Celeste, but there was a prequel,
Oh,
and it's
yes.
basically like the pixels are way worse. The art style is way worse, and this was made before Celeste, so it actually is a true like prequel in the manner of the definition of the word. But from my understanding, it's way harder,
Hmm.
and it's only available like on the internet. It's really weird. It's
Yeah.
really I forget the name of it, but it's I would totally want to try that out. I don't think there's much to it aside from the fact that it's harder.
Yeah. I think
But
it is called Celeste 2, and um it's 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 like the Pico 8 platformer thing that they have
mm,
actually in the game as well, the actual Celeste game, but then they remade it like you're saying for um internet browsers and stuff, which I thought was pretty
yeah,
cool.
I I I I want to try it.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but like that's really interesting that they were like, we're not gonna make a sequel to it, but here's this,
Yeah.
and it's just this really weird project that they worked on before making Celeste.
Mm.
So I think that's really cool. Uh, but also I can't wait to see what Maddie Thorson puts out.
Yeah.
Uh, they're a very talented developer. I think they opened a studio called Extremely OK Games,
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, with a couple of friends, so that's exciting. And hopefully like it's more stories that people don't want to talk about, but uh, because nobody wants to talk about mental illness. Let's be honest.
Mm.
But this Celeste made it worth talking about, or no, it brought it to the zeitgeist of more people.
Yeah,
If that makes sense, it brought it to more people's attention, and I hope we get to see more of that.
definitely.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I
like
totally forgot that made a new studio, Extremely OK Games. I'm on their site now, and it says that they are working on a mystery game. So hopefully we will get to know what that is
where's
soon.
Celeste? That's the
So
mystery.
yeah, let's hope that maybe it is something like that, or like you said, something that is worth talking about that we should shed some more light on. But Caesar, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about Celeste. I had a lot of fun. But before we go, I would love for you to plug all your socials and where can find you, patch notes, everything. We want to know.
I am at Caesar Towers at CEASAR Towers. Um, everywhere: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Um, you can listen to Patch Notes, my weekly gaming update news show. Words, I said that wrong, but you get the idea. It's basically a weekly gaming news show where we get the week's biggest news and we pack it into a 15-minute or less show. This week's gonna be fun. But you can find it on YouTube. Just search your Patch Notes. And you can also find it on podcast services. Look for Patch Notes. I think we have a link tree, like linktree.com/patch notes. I'll get you the link for it.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm not good at plugs, but there it is.
There we go. Perfect. I'm going to make sure all those links are down in the description so you could follow Patch Notes and Caesar everywhere that you possibly can. But until next time, everyone, thank you so much for watching. You can find me on Twitter at Roro. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, everywhere at Roro. But until next time, later will be greater. See ya.